Hello everyone, welcome back to Tier 2 Talk. Another episode here today, Josh. We're 39, so we're getting there to the old century. Powering through the episodes as of recent. We've got TSM boys to join us here, Sirah and Rejin. How you guys doing?
Lovely. Absolutely lovely.
Doing all right.
That's one way to start.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's fair enough. Josh, more stuff to talk about today. I think this has become like a staple segment of Tier 2 Talk, right? Is obviously discussing the team that we're talking about and what's happened sort of within the last year or so. Obviously for TSM, I'd say a few changes that are talk worthy, Josh.
Yeah. I mean, the first one, Rejin, is that you came on here with Moto, and I remember it was the beginning of February when you came on, and then 2 weeks later he gets benched. So did you just hate the guy or what?
Yeah, disgusting. No, not at all. Like, he's a lovely guy. We were just in a position of TSM where new things needed to happen, and Moto was not performing at all. Like, he was just not performing with us at all. And that was partly also my fault. I would actually credit a lot of it to being my fault because of my coaching style just didn't fit him at all. Like, and he didn't say anything to me like that it was actually hurting his performance, right? We then talk about that later, right? And actually like sort it out, and there's no bad blood and everything. And he also is a really solid player, and he will go places like when the time comes, right? But we just didn't match, I would say, me and him because of the expectation, the way you want to do it, and also a lack of communication, and that's why it became so bad. And then we decided to kind of scrap the whole project, basically. Valde, and I want to build up with Valde basically again. So, yeah. But I promise, Zero, you're gonna be here for more than 2 weeks.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's the next conversation. Is I know you kind of said about the whole rebuilding phase. You brought in Quertz, who's a guy that like played on Sinners a little bit, was familiar with him in the Czech scene. Poison as well. I mean, outside of maybe the Wendigo run, we hadn't seen a lot from him in quite a few years. So that was at the time. I know we're talking a few months ago now. But sort of why those two players in particular?
Well, Quertz was like, he is an outstanding player. Like, his aim is one of the best I ever seen. Once he gets more experience and he gets smarter, he will be potentially top 20 player in the world, I would say. Like, his aim is so freakishly, he is out of this world. Like, how good aimer he is. So that was like kind of a no-brainer for me to pick him up. He was like a free agent. We didn't have to go out and buy out players, stuff like that. Poison, he had a really high skill ceiling back in CS:GO. We saw him in Complexity, and I think also, was it Fnatic? I think it was in something like
Yeah, little stint.
that. And his skill ceiling was also surreal back then. And free agent, no risk of taking these players in, TSM wise, right? Like, from money and stuff like that. I know you called me a paycheck stealer, Dweg, I think it was, but
Probably.
it was more or less us trying to make the correct decisions without going out and spending a lot of money, as other teams have been doing. Not gonna mention any names, but it rhymes with eat. And basically, I would say that we just tried to play it smart, and the major was just about start and finish, of course. And then we would kind of make our decisions on what player and what direction we want to go into. Because we spent like so long building this roster, like the roster we wanted. And then finally, when we kind of got the roster we wanted, it fell through, and we had to kind of go a different route anyway. So.
I mean, Ryan, I think you and I were kind of on the same page that the whole team prior to the Danish move just looked like out of character, looked like it lacked identity. And I think we both said it at the time, like when we finally start picking up some Danish players, we're like, okay, this is a team that we can get behind. You know what I mean? Like now we're actually starting to see some moves that we can see progress. So do you think that you wanted that early on? Like I know you joined when it was still international, but did you envision the team eventually being Danish, or was it just you're here to create an international project, it hasn't worked, now let's try and go that direction?
No, I wouldn't say the intentions didn't work. Like, because like I said, like we picked up Quertz and Poison for free agents, right? Because like, why not? Like, it was a no-brainer, right? We had Joel also. And we just try to see like what can we do with this where we don't spend any money, right? And then we see after the major who's available. Let's go out and see. Like we were in talk with Dexter, like who's down Heroic and stuff like that. Like so, we had a lot of talks. Like nothing was said that we have to be Danish or anything. So it just kind of happened when suddenly Astralis benched Blame F. Then I immediately reached out to him. Then we had Config as well, and it was like, well, we might as well go Danish now. Like you had 3 or 4 players, 3 players plus a coach being Danish. Then you might as well go Danish. Then Acor, I came in touch with him. His contract was running out, and we were like, yeah, why not then build a Danish team, right? So it kind of came out of nowhere. Like, if we could have gotten simple, we would have probably gone the international route, right? But it was just a matter of who we could get and stuff like that. And not being a partner team at that moment still hurt us, I think.
All right, should we bring Will into the conversation here? Because I know he's been sitting on the sideline. How did this move come about? When did you actually find out, and how quick to basically joining the team did the process go down?
I think. Oh, I'm not sure how long it took. I think it's like maybe 3 weeks ago. Like first, I got the message like TSM was interested, and like it was right after the close call, right? So I was like, I could kind of feel on the mouse NXT team that we were kind of like, like it was well known in the team for a long time that we were not going to continue, and I always really wanted to play Danish again, and I really liked like when I talk with, for example, Siphon or Nico about TSM, the team, I really liked what I heard. Like it sounded like a great a team environment, like and then I said yes, and we figured it out. I think it took like the negotiation things maybe a week and a half, and then it was like got announced, so it was pretty fast. Yeah.
Okay, and maybe Rejin, from your point of view, you can give us a bit of insight on why a player change was even necessary. Is it that an opportunity presented itself and you didn't want to pass at it, or what?
I mean, there's no question about Will is a big talent. He's only 17, young guy, almost my son, right? But we also had some problems, I would say, within the team, like just culture-wise, like how we envisioned how to play, etc. Right? So, like all respect for Altix, it just we were really a mismatch for a long time, and I also don't think. Now I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I don't think he was happy here, to be honest, with the way we like to do things and the way he likes to do things, and that is okay. Like it's not like he did anything wrong. Sometimes you're just not clicking, as I like to say, right? And it just didn't click the way we wanted. So we also felt like a player change would needed to be happening.
Okay, Ryan, have you casted any at TSM recently?
I don't think recently. I remember watching like a couple of your games, and I think you raised a really good point earlier, Josh. And I guess as you said, Rejin, it's like when we look at TSM, sort of like I guess your stint within TSM, Rejin, right, where it's like you start out as like a European team. And it feels like it was a bit of a head scratcher, right? Where like a lot of these games, and I mean, you yourself admitted, you know, you've got good individuals and there's some insane players, but it didn't feel like it clicked. And then of course you go full Danish after, I mean, Valder being the longest standing and Zyphon joining in February of this year. It felt like it slowly pushed in towards that. I do find it interesting as well, as you said, about this like change between Ultex and Sirah, and it coming down to just like a clash in some ways. Because for me, Josh, at least, when I was watching TSM, you know, like sort of pre this change, I don't think there was like a lot wrong outside looking in, right? Like I feel like your results were still looking pretty good. Like it felt.
I agree.
I feel like, at least for me, when you look at, you know, HLTV and you just scroll down like the games that you played, you know, like maybe for every loss there's like 5 or 6 wins, and it's actually like you're making progression. Like for you, Rejin, then is this like, as you say, is it literally just down to the fact that, oh, you know, right place, right time, and it felt like the team needed the change, or anything else?
No, I mean, like I think it comes down to not clicking on the team, right? Like it's just one player not really kicking and vibing with the team, and it kind of brings down the mood for everyone. Like if you have that kind of thing, and it's gonna hurt your progression, right? I would also say like when you sign, like we signed Acor, Altix, and Nico at the same time. Plus Siphon was still fairly new. We like the odds for you find 5 players just working together is really low, right? So we also knew that there's potentially a change happening, whether it's one player or another, right? And this one happened to be Altix, and then when the opportunity presented itself with Sirah, then we took it and jumped on it.
Yeah. And I mean, it has to be noted, Xiphon's form. I think I cast a few of the games in this Elisa Invitational, and I just remember thinking, like, I'm so close to swearing on this broadcast right now. Like, what the fuck is happening? Like, I don't know what is changed with Xiphon. Maybe you can give some insight, but I felt like for a very long time he'd plateaued, and then instantly he's just back, and it just feels like match after match, series after series, every single tournament, he is just popping off to an insane level right now.
Yeah, I mean, like I would love to say because he has such an awesome coach, right? But I don't really think that's the case. Like I would say, like he's just working so freakishly hard. Like he's constantly on the grind, and is really good at taking criticism, sitting and what we call cooking on the server, making stupid shit like where none of it you can use, and then it's like, oh, there's this one thing maybe that works, right? He's always talking serious about things like watching his own games, etc. And I think also Velde has been a really good thing there also to help him adjust a few things here and there, right? I don't want to sit here and say it's my credit at all because it's all come down to the player, right? Like he has been working super hard, and I think it's just paying off right now.
Yeah.
All right.
I was going to say as well, Josh, I think that's like quite a fitting story because I almost felt bad for Xiphon sort of post Copenhagen Flames because you look at that whole team and like where everyone went, right? It's like some of the names are off to different places, and then for him, he just kind of really didn't get the go up, right? Like he kind of, as you say, like not only in terms of maybe performance, but also in terms of like career, like it really did plateau because he went to Sprout, he played on Heroic for a month, and then went back to Sprout for like a month, and then finally found himself in TSM, and since this like I guess new TSM side, like he has been farming, and I actually would say that's an extension. Like as I was saying, I was watching like a couple of TSM games, I don't even remember where, but it does feel like now, like not even just the new additions that you've got, right? Like it feels like the longer standing players, even Valder is sort of coming to his own a bit more, right? Like it felt like on the European iteration of TSM, that is, it felt like he was like less relied upon as like util support, like a more backstanding figure within the team, and now actually we're starting to see him sort of get better individually, right? Like there are some games where he's playing really well, and I think that just is kind of a testament to maybe as what you were saying, Rejin, in terms of like how change can massively improve a team.
All right. Should we move on to the events, Ryan?
Yeah, a fair few to talk about, Josh. Fucking, it feels like there's so many events.
No, there's not that many this time around.
Compared to
actually aren't
last.
playing in that many. Yeah. In comparison to the other tournaments.
Yeah. We have ourselves Elisa Invitational Fall to talk about, Josh. You were saying, how you were commentating a few of these games and whatnot.
Yeah.
I think we said on a previous episode, there's a lot of like big teams here that were not only in the playoff invites, but also through main Swiss, like yourselves, obviously, like Zero Tenacity, Metis Port, Gaming Gladiators as well. Like, obviously, I guess Mal's and XT can be thrown in that conversation, and so on. We just wanted to focus on the playoffs, Josh, or you want to start from main Swiss?
I mean, we can brush over main Swiss. I think I casted your game against Alternate Attacks and Metasport, and then that was it. I didn't do any more. I only did the first 2 rounds of main Swiss for all games. But pretty clean. I mean, beat the teams that you should have done. Did lose to Maz NXT, but
I mean, like
got to the playoffs at the end.
That was like the thing, right? We lost to Zero. Like we need to get this guy now. I can't.
Yeah.
But yeah, we focus on the playoffs. I think was it the round 1 had finished, but the quarterfinals hadn't started on the last episode, right?
Yeah, I think we were like
the round
up
of 12.
to,
I mean,
I think we were up to the quarterfinals, and we were saying, "Oh, look out for these teams and whatnot," right? So,
yeah, we were saying watch out for the derby, and then the derby wasn't close. Yeah, we were picking up that Sashi TSM game. So do you want to talk about that one to start?
I mean, like we didn't have Velde, right? And that was our first game with Sirah as well. He was standing in for Velde. So we were playing without in-game leader and some new roles. Sirah has to he had to just jump in and be like, okay, we do this, 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 and it's like, yeah. But maybe you can also shed your light a little bit on that yourself, Will.
Yeah, like it's always really, really, really strange to just like go on the fly and like I think we played really close on Inferno. I think we also like we had the chances to win. Like we could have won it, but for example, we struggled a lot on the T side, and when you don't have an in-game leader, like even though Nico has been calling before and is good at taking responsibility and charge, it was just very hard. And yeah, on Nuke, we just got like destroyed. Like they're really, really, really good on Nuke, and it's a very tactical map. And when you haven't played before together, you're just gonna get picked apart. Like it's just how it is. I think it was like it was rough conditions, but I think we got the best out of it. To be fair, like especially with the Inferno, I'm surprised it got that close. To be honest.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, we could talk about the bracket overall, Ryan, because it was funny, when we had Johnny Speeds on the last show, I already knew that Hampus, not he was joining the team, but I knew that he was going to be playing the playoffs, so we didn't really talk about it. We kind of left it in the open. And then we find out, like, officially Hampus has gone out on loan. This is a massive, massive pickup for Johnny Speeds. But yeah, I mean, I think, was it even the Swedes that were talking about Rebels? It might have even been the show before, honestly. They were like, oh, Rebels are pretty decent. I was like, nah, they're not really. And then they've just qualified to this Masters Expo. So, I don't know, they've gone on a big run here.
Yeah,
I was actually riding with someone from the coach from Sassy Hunden there, and said like, oh, you have Rebels in the final, it's going to be free, no? They just got destroyed.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. We've seen Sashi choke a couple of finals as of recently. I know the players have been talking about it a bit on Twitter, but yeah, there were some surprises. I mean, I thought Zero Tenacity would certainly going to be in that grand final against Sashi, but didn't quite go down. And for Rebels, I mean, they get a chance of playing on LAN. They've qualified to the RMR. They've now got Espo. They're actually doing quite well like these last handful of months. These are two pretty good accolades back to back.
I was gonna say they look like such a sleeper team. When we first like finished the when the RMR event the quali actually finished, and we were having a look through, and we were like, oh, fucking Rebels, you know, what a run, but you know, fucking see you later in the 0-3, and then you know, as you say, like not only have they just got to the RMRs, they're going to Espo now. On top of Espo, like they're doing quite well in sort of like CCTs and whatnot, right? Like the tier 2 events online. Fair play to them. I will say as well, I think overall Sashi not making it is a real disappointment for them, because obviously you think back to sort of this time last year. I know it was a little bit later on the calendar, but obviously qualified to the Compass LAN, right? And a lot of people kind of just shat on them and were like, oh, you know, like these guys got really lucky. And then we saw them in the Espo, in the Abu Dhabi event, right, at Yala. And it was like they beat Astralis. They had a lot of close matchups, and I was always waiting to see if those guys would get another shot at another LAN and be able to, you know, use that experience from last year, and if they could find their place in the map this year in terms of LANs, then it would have been nice. But
hey, 3D Max getting upset in
bro,
the quarters as well.
I was gonna say I don't know if we've got. I haven't even read if we've got it in the like roster talk changes bit.
Oh,
I don't think we have. But
we can talk about it later anyway.
Yeah, but I think them bombing out in this fashion against Zero Tenacity is really disappointing. Like, I know they dominate Anubis, and then the last two maps are like 13-10, 13-10. It's like quite the heartbreaking loss. But yeah, it just feels like those guys should be smashing the shit out of Zero Tenacity, right? In terms of what we've seen from them previously.
Yeah, especially after taking Anubis, they should win that 2-0.
And just haven't. Yeah, I think, I mean, for ITB, just calamity yet again, isn't it?
Yeah, we spoke about that last ep, didn't we?
That's it really for me.
Yeah, no more to talk about there.
Next one, fucking the mouthful from Thunderpick European World Championship 2024 Series 2. Fucking great event this is. Single elim. It's a bit brutal. This is like, it's like the Blast Showdown, but just bigger, isn't it? Like, you know, there's no...
yeah, it's an extra round, isn't it?
Well, 2, right?
Isn't it round of 16 now?
Only 8. Oh, yeah, true.
No,
actually,
they extended
just
it. They went
it,
from 8 to then 16, and now this one's to round of 32. Yeah, I don't think Sirah, you hadn't joined yet, had you? This was still the old team, Rejin.
Yeah.
I even played it with Mouse NXT as well.
Done it again.
Yeah. So obviously, I'm pretty sure, yeah, you did. You got knocked out by Monty first round, and then obviously for TSM, you play Sampy and Bait. Josh, Bait are one of those teams that we, have the odd discussion about here and there. I'd love your thought on them, Rejin, because obviously as someone that isn't actively in the server, like I feel like a lot of opinions are that these guys are actually like making a name for themselves on the map, and maybe from someone that is watching more from like an analytical perspective rather than obviously like maybe focused on crosshairs. Like, what's your opinion of these Bait guys?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I haven't been watching a lot of them. We prepared shortly for this match, and like just like the normal prep we would do, I don't really have much to say other than I think Hetrick and NPL is doing insanely well. Yeah. I don't really like. We've only played them once, I think, with this team, and we always avoided them somehow, which I'm happy for, even though we beat them, because I think they're a really strong team, right? And they're annoying to play against, I think.
I think they're a bit of a title contender in the majority of Tier 2 Cups at the moment. Like, you can actually see them go deep in a lot of comps. They brought Alex back, didn't they? And they haven't really made that many changes, honestly. Like, losing Wrinkle, I thought was going to be quite a hit for them, but replacing him with Hetrick, they've been able to stabilize and do quite well.
Yeah. I think this team's...
Did you play them, Sirah?
Yeah, we played them a lot before the break.
Or maybe you know more than me then.
Yeah, like I think for me, like also like Nipple and Hedrick are really insane, but for me it's like I think Senfiel, I don't know how you pronounce it. He has been really stepping up. Like I see like his last events, has really good ratings and doing a lot of multi kills as anchoring, like compared to before the break. So I think he has taken a lot on his shoulders, it seems like from the outside perspective. But so I think like that is at least for me what has changed a lot compared to before. Yeah, I think he's at least a huge key to their success.
It's a bit weird, Ryan, because when he first joined the team, he was like the hard site anchor. Like, he was jump spotting B apps and he was playing Aeon Anubis. And then I casted them, I think, like 2 tournaments later. And then Essential was on B on Anubis. And then he was like the A anchor on Mirage. I thought, what the fuck's going on here? So it actually feels like he actually is moving roles quite a bit. He plays hard anchor on some maps. Like, I think he plays Pit and apps on Inferno, I'm pretty sure. But then he plays like small site anchors on other maps between him and Captain Kirker. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I think we'll just have to see how many LAN opportunities they actually get towards the tail end of the year, how many qualifications. I mean, they're at Espo, so that's actually the kind of tournament with the teams that are there that they could make the stage and actually play in front of the crowd. That would be quite cool to see how they perform in that sort of an environment.
Yeah. You guys play Young Ninjas in the third game. Unfortunately, you're lost in Thunder Pick. I think it's one of those teams, Josh, where like you just kind of look at it and it's like, what the fuck is going on, right? And I know Young Ninjas since this game have made changes, right? Like they've promoted Mistem to the main team as well, right? Spray XD, I think, was the other guy that went up. I mean, like, this is just a fucking, what a mix of players this is, right? Like, insane to see. I think map by map, like, really close on Young Ninja's pick and, like, a respectable result, albeit your pick, but, 13-7 on Mirage. Do you remember this game at all?
Remember us being asleep, at least. That was not a happy me. No, I like, we knew Vertigo was going to be rough, but I think we were up, like, 10-4 or something, like, and then we just couldn't close it for some reason. And then we were kind of tilted, coming to Mirage, we get a bad start, and then we had to do comeback, and it was just one of those days where nothing functioned. Yeah, I think we had Siphon on the server, basically. I see Valdo also, but I mean, it was just like, there was just no one there, basically. And it was just one of those days.
Yeah, fair enough.
Anything else? I think we discussed the rest of this event in the last episode, right, Josh?
Yeah, I think we did, actually. Yeah.
like C9 winning, Zero Tenacity Grand Final. I think we
Yeah,
more or
yeah. No, we
less,
talked about it definitely. Yeah.
summarized it. Our third event to talk about and final, CCT Season 2 Europe Series 9.
I'll get in.
Yeah, again we're like fucking.
We did talk about this one as well in the last show because
with
Attacks
the
won
alternate
it.
attacks guys. Yeah.
But you guys didn't get to. Do you play them in the main Swiss at all? Not sure actually. Or
I
do you
think
get
we were
invited straight away?
I think we
Yeah,
got invited
straight to the round of 16. Oh, you got Danish Derby in your opening game.
Yeah, trying to think back here. That was just after the RMR. Am I right or wrong?
Well, this is 20th of.
Yeah, it's
yeah,
after.
it sounds
Yeah,
about
because
right.
Koi,
Yeah.
they dropped out because we beat them. No, I don't know. Yeah, I can't really remember. Like, honestly, this is a blur for me when it comes back to that. I know we won against Extella. I think we lost on Vertigo, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. 13-11 loss.
It looked like we also threw that one 9-3 up. Yeah, it looks like that. But yeah, I don't know really much to say about that one. It was just after the RMR. We were exhausted. Like these 3 tournaments you just pulled up, like Eliza, Thunderpick, and CCT, were all after the RMR. And like, I don't know how many maps we played in official, but we had over 100 official maps since we started the team from 8th of July up until 22 of February, basically, right? And we were just done. Like, there was no more in the tank, basically. And we just needed a break. So that's also why our tournament is a bit standing still right now, because we needed a little reset button.
Yeah, I think looking at the dates, it was about 2 days after your Koi game to qualify, which basically started the CCT. This Monty Jang side, I mean, Ryan, you and I, we were sort of like shit talking them quite a bit, but they beat you, so maybe we shouldn't shit talk them.
Yeah, I mean, again, I can't remember the match. I do believe we played Mirage against them, or was that the deciders? I can't remember it, but yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. We were just bad. Like there's I don't know the stats right now, but if I'm correct,
yeah.
it's probably the Siphon show and no one else showed up. And that was not even right. So I don't even know. Like, we were just bad that game, and they were just playing well.
Alrighty. Should we talk about the RMR? Because I think that's what the majority of the people would be focusing on today. Because I think I was watching, it might have been Ted's stream, Ryan. I think he had like Jack on there. Jay was like doing they were just doing like a little trio watch party. And I was thinking, shit, this is not looking good for the start, because it was a rough first few games at the RMR close quals.
Yeah, I think we played really scared, like really, really nervous the first best of ones the first day. I mean, we lost 2 best of ones against Bleed and Gamer Legion.
Yeah,
as I remember. And like we just got demolished, like literally demolished both games, I would say. I was really angry. Like, we had a serious talk after that. And then the next day, before we started playing again, Siphon had this great speech basically saying, like, guys, I don't want to see any fucking, if I can swear, pussy plays. Just big balls and go out there, play like it's the last thing we do. And we did that. And yeah, like the first 2 days, they were just like, it was not us playing. Like, like if you covered the names, you would not be able, like, you would not see TSM.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the best of 3 versus 1 win though, because if you lose that game, right, obviously heartbreak. If you lose that game, they probably keep the roster. Do you reckon you completely folded this team? Because we were talking about it in the last show that they had a sub in this best of 3. Did that seem wild to you that you go into this game and it's just a new 5th player for 1 win?
We got so confused, I remember, because I did prep and I was like, okay, these play in this guy and they play here. This is the position. It's like, but wait, he's not playing. It's like, what? And suddenly you have this, I think it was Kronos standing in, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, for Ryujin.
And yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, taking in a stand in and hope you can do good is stupid, right? So, I mean, I think they must have been already on the way of folding the team, basically.
Yeah, they must have been full tilt after day 1, Ryan. There's no way that you can't be making a roster change going into the 0-2 game.
Yeah, and winning this game was the upswing in this event for you guys, right? Like, as you say, like, you lose your first 2 games, and I guess for those that maybe don't understand the Swiss system and how it works, is it's basically play until you win 3, you lose 3, right? So, you know, as you were saying, Josh, it's like 1 win. If TSM lose this, they're out. And that was the exact same scenario for your next 2 games, right? You obviously play this BC game side, like an Arquez, Casanito,
Up against Querts again.
Querts, yeah, I was going to say, and obviously you beat Koi. Do you remember this BC game matchup at all? Because, I mean, the scoreline would dictate, you know, it was 2-0, quite an easy game for you in that sense.
I think Inferno was kind of a walkover for us. I mean, we are also insane on Inferno, right? So, like, this is just our go-to map. Whenever we want to win the series, we just need to pick Inferno, right? And then Mirage came a bit closer. I can't really remember much from it. I think actually Querts was playing all right on Mirage, which I was happy to see. But I think he actually did not. Okay. Maybe I wanted him to play good. No, I can't remember. I honestly can't remember the match. As you also can see, I'm just talking bullshit, right? Like, but I mean, it was kind of one of these situations where it's like a must-win game, and we came in fully confident, fully prepared, and ready for him. So yeah.
Yeah. But before we go into the 5th game, I've got to ask you, Sirah, when you're on an academy team, yeah, and all this like RMR cycle comes around, like what the fuck are you boys doing? Like, is there any tournaments to play, or is it just not you just watching the streams, or you know, keeping the individual prac up?
Yeah, like we I think we didn't play at all because like you know we were in 5. We just every tournament we played was just standing in with Tobis, right? So I think I just saw all the Danish teams play. To be honest, I think I saw a lot of TSM.
Yeah.
Didn't have to do much.
Yeah. Well, we can talk about the last game.
So you can
against
also
Koi.
ask Sirah about how TSM played. That's nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Did
saw all
you
the
think it
game.
was really shit? Yeah. Or really good? Yeah.
Stalk shit.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, obviously, from your POV, this is like a really big achievement, and you know, Koi aren't an easy team to beat by any stretch. But even still, I feel like something changed at this RMR for them. Like they were 2-0 up, and then they just started getting owned, and then since then their results look horrendous. Did you feel like that was kind of like a broken team going into this best of 3, or what?
No, not at all. Like we knew they were really good. Like I didn't have that feeling at all. Like we were like I was happy it was Koi, because it was either Koi or who was it? I can't remember.
It's like Bleed, Gamer Legion,
Yeah, but we couldn't play those. So who was the other
Monty, and
team?
Bait.
Yeah, it was Monty we could play, I think, or B8, and we were just like, I hope to God we don't play them. We'd rather want to play Koi, and luckily for us, we played Koi, and we felt our map pool was really good against them. We knew that they're gonna expect an Inferno pick, but we picked Mirage against them. And yeah, that I think that caught them off guard without knowing. Of course, this is me just saying in hindsight, right? I did believe we were gonna lose Nuke because our Nuke was so bad at the moment, or at that time. Even though like we were quite confident in it, and then Gamer Legion just shit on us, like completely shit on us, and that best of 1. And then we were like a little not scared, but like probably a little nervous, or at least I was. But then we actually managed to close it out. Yeah, so that was just amazing, right? But I actually believe that we're gonna go to Ancient in this match.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, again, if you bring up Koi's results since then, we spoke about it, I think, in the last episode or the episode before. But fuck me, they should have beaten Unity in that 4th round. Like, I know that they lose to you guys, but they shouldn't even be here. Like, they should be beating Unity.
Oh yeah, I remember that one. They threw that nuke so hard.
Like, this is an easy result. Like, against Sinners, you can understand it, but against Unity, there's no way a team to this pedigree should be losing. And then, obviously, they lose to you guys. They go to Pro League, and they can't even take a map. Like, I know it's G2 and Mongols, and they're opening 2 games, but fuck, wildcard? Like, not even holding weight? I don't know, Ryan. I think changes are definitely bound. And with Alex being dropped on NIP, I can see Alex going back to Koi and picking up in-game leadership here.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's like one of many teams that we've seen that are like destined or already have made changes, right? It's like,
Yep.
for them, it's so disappointing. Like, you've got to feel a little bit for the players. I know they're the ones holding the mouse and keyboard at the end of the day, but to go 2-0 and then go 2-3 at an RMR, probably not the nicest feeling in the world. Obviously, Bleed suffer the same fate in that massive comeback with Gamer Legion as well. It's just got to be a massive hit for them, and now, as you say, like it's reflected in future events as well, and things haven't looked too great.
I think like I don't think you can blame Koi too much for going into was it Pro League?
Yeah,
Yeah, Pro League, yeah.
Like going into Pro League and do a bit of an unlucky, like not even taking a map from wildcard or anything, right? You just come from a failure at RMR. It's gonna be in you whether or not you try to shock it off, right? So
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's really hard to flaunt them too much about. I would say.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, look, that qualifies you to the RMR, which again, we've been talking about it on the last few shows, and I think we're starting to hear it not just from us, Ryan, but the players, that actually qualifying to the RMR is more important than qualifying to the major. Now, obviously, it steps in a process, right? When you qualify to the RMR, you then want to try and push yourself to the major itself. But did you feel as if this is the best achievement that TSM has had basically since you joined the team of qualifying here?
Yeah, of course. Like there's like ever since TSM got back in CS is the best result, right? There's no arguing that at all.
Yeah, and I think it says there on the note, Ryan, that we won't know till about another month who's basically an A or B. What do you think about that? Do you prefer it that way? Would you prefer it to be basically seeded now so you can start prepping against the other teams, or not?
Will, you've been so quiet.
For me, I don't really care. Like, I think I'm more. I prefer that it get announced as late as possible. Like,
Okay.
I'm not because like, for me personally, I'm not. I'm not like looking too much into like the prep. Like, I know some like correct, like understand me right. Like, I'm preparing, but like it doesn't. I don't need a month to prepare. Like, also I think sometimes like I have seen before, like where matchups get released very early, and people like they have that one match they can prepare for, and then they play the next one, and then it's just like completely different team because they had so much prep for one match, right? And I don't I don't like being in that situation, to be honest. I like more taking one match at a time, and yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a few teams there that both of you guys would like to play. Would you like to play Mouse?
Yeah, but it's not like in like what can you say? Like I wanna beat them. Like I have huge respect for them all. Like and it would just be like an honor, to be honest, to play them. Like yeah, it would just be fun, right? I would not be extra nervous or anything on the line. It would just be like a fun matchup, to be honest.
Yeah, we'll have to quote and keep that clip for later. Sirah, the 17-year-old, going into a LAN RMR versus Mouse. Mate, no pressure, no fear, no. Well, yeah. What about you, Rejin? Going up against Sashi? You worked with them for a bit, didn't you?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't really care who you meet. Like, you just have
Fair
to beat
enough.
3 teams, right? Like, you have 2 lives you can piss away. So let's not do that and let's qualify, right? Like, I think we have a really, really good chance. I don't think this is the strongest the major could have been, even though, of course, like every team deserves to be here, right? Like, I don't want to take any credit away from anyone, and you can argue the same with us. Like, should we even be here? But when I look at it, the whole field, I feel like we are gonna qualify. We are gonna be at the major. So yeah, like I mean that's our goal, of course. But should we not? It's gonna suck really hard.
Yeah.
But
okay.
yeah.
Well, I'll put it to you, Ryan, to start. Do you want to like give us maybe 3 teams from tier 2 that we think could make it to the major? And Will, you can chime in here, same as you, Rejin. Like some of the outsider teams, right? Like not our favorites, just like some tier 2 teams that you think have been doing decently enough that have got a decent chance of qualifying.
Sangal, I think would
that's a
be
decent
be
shout.
a good start. I'd say with the running Cologne, like the Saw guys probably stand a good chance. Not even in terms of, they just did well in a tier 1 event, but like that's got to be a massive motivator for them heading into this circuit. I think the mediocre take would be that Big don't make it. That would be my
Oh, bro, they're
like,
not making it.
yeah, that would be like my lukewarm take. I actually fancy the chances of all of these teams on the bottom row. In complete honesty, like maybe not all
he's
of them
getting on the
qualifying.
Rebels. He's getting on the.
No, I don't want to like they could just be the one pump chump of tier 2, right? Like they do really well in one RMR and one like in a quali and in like an online event, and then they could turn up to an RMR and just be absolute horseshit. Like, you know, I've got to give it time. But for Gamer Legion as well, I guess for them, I know it's not as big as going to Cologne, but I've got to imagine for them with the massive comeback that they made to be in the RMR, like they're going to be super motivated to get to work and deliver. Obviously, Sashi having played at Yala Compass, like those guys will probably be wanting to do that, and exact same for you guys, right? Like teetering on the edge of O2, like you're going to be in a very similar boat to Gamer Legion, where it's like, holy shit, like we nearly just cost the entire major circuit because we lost 2 BO1s in the first day. Like I feel like now that's going to be all motivated to give it 110%, and you know, I think always
I
as well.
think also it's really hard to say too much because a lot of these teams are not proven teams on LAN, right? Like I think
it's exactly that.
Like you can say, like you can talk a lot of shit about Big, but they know how to play on LAN, and they know how to do these things. They tried it many times, right? So they do have an edge in some ways, right? Where if you have like a team like, I'm just looking here, Dynamo Eklat, right? They are not like they haven't been to many big lands. Like you can see Gamer Legion as well. Like you have the new player Andu, Slent, ZTR, Flamus, right? They're not also been. I know Volt has been in. He was at the major final, right, last time.
He was in the. He
quarter.
played for ITB in the
ITB
quarters
top 8.
against.
Oh, that's
Vitality.
ITB. That's right. Yeah. But you know, like there's a lot of these teams where you haven't seen them on LAN. The same with Passion UA, right? Like B8, Nemiga. There is so many question marks, right? Where I would say Sashi, they at least, like you mentioned earlier, been into Yala Compass and the other one, some other tournaments. They're boot camping a lot. Like for us, we have Valde, who was very veteran player. Cypher been in majors before. We have Eiko, who was in the Paris Grand Final. Nico and many majors as well, right? And then we only have one new guy coming in where he just needs to do his thing, right? And I think that's more easy than have 3 to 4 players never really tried it before, right? Now, is that gonna be enough? CS2? I don't know. Like CS2, MR12, throw me some dices because anything can happen.
Yeah.
What do you think, Will?
I think like for this media especially, like there's a lot of question marks as tier 2, but also like the tier 1, for example. It must be very hard, for example, for a team like Falcons as well, like you know that that Nico is joining, and like you want to fight for your, like there must be so much insecurity on the team, like is it gonna be me who's getting kicked or what? And like for example, also 3D Max, now there's this, they have really been good lately, but now there's the thing that they are not like all this shit on Twitter about their org and shit, like no matter how much you wanna like keep it out of your mind, it affects you a bit. And like also if you're not getting paid, like I can just tell from like other teams, for example, I don't wanna hang anybody out, but I know, for example, 00 Nation, when they were a team 1 year ago, they also had some troubles with being paid on time, and it just like it was just like a snowball effect where every time you meet up on TeamSpeak, you say, "Where's our money?" Like, so I think there are some of the teams who should go through that I believe will have some struggles. But yeah, I also think what Alan said, like they just know how to play on lane, and that can be either like that can be the tier 2 team's weaknesses, that their opponents is well known on lane, or they can just be like get a lane buff and then they will just qualify. I think it's gonna be very you have to see on the day who's the best on the day, who has the best period. It's gonna be the teams going through.
Yeah, I think it depends a lot on the draw, doesn't it? I mean, I actually think 9 Pandas are going to qualify this time around. Run. I think they got hard done by last time. And with Xiaofi, they actually look quite good.
And
Yeah.
result
I
as well.
think also, I think also like if you, it depends on like you saw Astralis just come into Pro League here and not do so well. Like it's also about form, right? Like have you been playing a lot, grinding a lot? I think you have an edge compared to if you didn't play a lot, right? And you go into a big tournament, have to perform right away, right? I think that's also come into fruition when you are at the tournament, right?
Yeah, I
But-
will say as well,
yeah.
one other thing, Josh, I wanted to throw in is that I remember now that it's CS2, I think one thing that we've got to consider, I think Rejin, you summed it up perfectly, like MR12 BO1s, like it really is a roll of the dice, and arguably with how busy the tier 2 calendar is and how, you know, fucking much CS everyone's playing at the tier 2 level right now, I've got to say, I think these opening 2 rounds where it's BO1s and people are going to be playing some, you know, strong teams in terms of world ranking. I honestly wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of tier 2 teams making close games or upsets. You know,
yeah, it should happen.
like
yeah.
I think it's a really normal thing to expect, but like I think back to what Copenhagen, right, was the first CS2 major if I'm not mistaken. And you look at some of the opening games there and some of the results that were made, right? Like, I don't know. I think that there is every opportunity where some of these teams really just do surprise and show up and be like, holy fuck, you know, like fair play. You know, that's a result that maybe not anyone expected on paper, but because it's tier 2, it's you know,
yeah.
more accepting to take in.
I think we'll have to talk about it when the draw comes out in about a month's time. I think
Yeah.
that will help us sort of dictate a little bit more who some of our favorite teams are. I think a team
Yeah.
like Fnatic's really going to struggle. I think Big are going to struggle. I think VP might struggle with how they're looking right now. I think we are certainly going to have tier 1 squads not qualifying to the major. It happens every time. It's just which ones are it going to be. So, yeah. No, that's basically it on the RMR discussion from here.
Yeah, I think like the tier 2 and tier 1 is way closer now than
Yeah,
like
people say it every time.
You see these people talking about G2, FaZe, Mouse, all these things. Sure, they're really good teams, but there is a lot. Like when you go down the rankings, like top 30, I would argue that almost anyone can beat anyone, maybe except of Navi and Vitality. I would say those are the two who's like the top dogs right now. But for the rest, I mean, it's let me say like this: I'm not gonna put my money on betting on that one because that's gonna be impossible to predict.
Yeah. I think the perfect example is what Sangal did at Pro League, right? With the results that they brought in
in
that,
good
right?
chess.
Beat FaZe, beat Heroic, obviously lost to FaZe and Heroic in rematches, but beat FlyQuest as well. Like, I don't know, I think the gap is a lot closer than people would say, right? It's like, oh, you know, tier 1 versus tier 2, snoozer matchup, whatever. Like, you always get it. The classic Twitch chat where people are like, oh, you know, this team's going to get folded by, like, a certain team and whatever. I think, yeah, it's a lot closer. And I think Spirit as well being dropped out of the Pro League system so early is probably a bit of an eye-opener to everyone. It's like, literally, like, one of the best teams in the world and probably, like, the best rifler in the world right now, losing in last place. It's like, well, actually, you know, there is some merit to it. And I think the RMRs this time are going to be very exciting and should bring a lot of fun to screens.
Yeah.
Do we want to move on, Josh? We can talk about some roster changes, right?
Yeah, I want to talk about some Danish ones. Will, I'm sure you're still quite connected with the roots in the scene. Arbe were a team that I remember casting a lot over the last handful of years. I remember Alex Sumfan being there. They've picked up a new team. Do you know any of these players? We'll get Ryan to bring up the link.
I didn't hear the team. Sorry.
The Arbe, the AAB.
OB.
Orbe.
OB.
Oh, yeah. I saw that they picked up a new squad.
Let me see.
Oh, it's in English. I just realised. Hold on, I'll switch it back and then you can
See if it changes.
see if
Oh,
like the
that's
names are
how
different.
you read.
Yeah, no, it's because if it's in English, like obviously if they like the names
The nod.
change.
Yeah, the knots.
Yeah, that's. I didn't want to throw you
That's
off.
a great
That's all.
name, though. That's a great name.
Like I have very, very, very shortly played with the Pilsenio guy, but otherwise I don't know them. Like it's just to be fair.
Okay, fair enough. So no gods out of this team then, Ryan. They're just another fucking whoever.
Mm.
I mean,
Yeah.
for me, I don't know the names either. So
All right, we'll see if they, because they got like the Dust 2 DK Power League, and see if they get. Do you still get LAN spots for that? I know that in the past it was bigger than it is now with the LAN opportunities.
Yeah, now they announced this season they're going to LAN. Like they're
Okay.
gonna have like a
it's the players.
also
right?
like no, also crowd actually. I'm pretty sure like in Odense, like they had some years ago. But it's like pretty new. It's not every season. Some of them is also online, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I remember either the last one, the one that Sashi won. It was online, and I thought, oh, okay, it's just over now. Does MPF still run? I remember watching you. You played at one with Black, no?
Me?
Yeah, didn't you play one?
No, like NPF is not a thing. Like actually, a lot of Danish lanes are shutting down at the moment. It's pretty sad. The only one that is still left is like the Game Box. Don't know if you've heard of it.
Oh yeah, Gamebox Festival. Yeah.
Yeah. That is still a thing, and that a really nice lane to be honest.
We
But
need to get
yeah.
these Danish teams to England, Ryan. Like,
Get
if
to
all
LAN.
the other fucking lands are like closing up, why aren't they
It's
coming
true.
to Epic Land?
That is true. Well, price
I mean,
pool's
like,
not a big enough problem.
I think, yeah, exactly. I think that's a big motivation for people, right? Like, you have to think like this, right? You can go to a LAN in a weekend and maybe win $5K for the first place, right?
Yep.
Or you can play these online qualifiers, CCTs, whatever, and you can win 20K, right? Like, now, that being said, I do think that players are missing out on a huge opportunity not going to LANs, even if it's for a small price. Like, I remember when I was playing, that before sirah was born, even, right? But I honestly used to take the train with my big stationery and my big CRT screen, right, and go to these LAN events, and you maybe, if you're lucky, you won $500, right? To split, of course, right? And you had to pay your own entry ticket. You had to sleep on a mattress and stuff like that. I think the main problem is that it's become so, like, the younger generation, they're just expecting an organization to pay for everything, hotels, food. There has to be top quality tables, stuff like that, right? Like when I was playing, it was not like I used to sit on my keyboard on my lap, so there was space for everyone, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's the condition we played in, and it just makes you more adaptable when you then go to a LAN event and your mom didn't adjust your height for your table or whatever the freak you need to do, right? And there will be these circumstances you can't control. You're actually losing out a lot of experience. So I think it's really, really sad. But that being said, I understand the premise why they're not going. Because it's really expensive for them to go. That what they can win is not really there. And yeah, it's just sad, but yeah, it's how it is, I think.
Yeah, I reckon, Ryan, if TSM came to Epic Land, and they won it in October, just before the RMR, they 100% qualify to the major. But if they get upset by Smooya and Bevy and, Adam 9130 in the grand final, roster just disbands.
Yeah.
So it's really one or the other.
It's a gamble. It's a gamble.
Yeah, I think like it's also depending on like what you get back as an organization, right? Like,
yeah,
because if you're invited for a LAN, you don't have any cost, right? Then
Sure.
LAN is covering everything for you, right? So when you have to go to these events yourself and pay for everything, then it's always like a plus minus side from the organization side, right? So
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I think nowadays people are too privileged. They like, if they need to go to an event, they need to be invited and everything is paid for. Otherwise, I'm not showing it. And I think that's the biggest issue, especially when it comes to tier 2 and 3 and stuff like that. But again, like, when you think back to 2012, 11, 10, whatever, I don't know if you guys even watch CS there. But I mean, you were at the Copenhagen Games for example in Denmark, right? And you were playing against, or at the same group and everything as MTW, NOA, SK Gaming, all the big dogs, right? It's just not possible anymore, and that's also a bit disconcerting, I would say, for the lesser teams, because they could go to Copenhagen Games, but they're not gonna play G2, FaZe, whatever,
Yeah.
right? And they're gonna play similar teams, and then also a lot of them. What's the word for that? Like the story and the fun kind of takes out of it, right? So I think it's a mismatch between everything, and people and teams just grow really, really big, right?
Well, I wanted to ask Sarah about your old organization, Masonic. They've just picked up No Problem Guy. Do you know anything about him? Seems like he's got no problems.
Yeah, I played a lot of Faceit with him like 1 or 2 years ago.
Okay.
I know like he's a really and like of course in 2 years a lot happens, right? But my impression, I think maybe that's the words of him, is like he's always been really smart and like he is a great player, like calculated. So I think it's a good pickup for them also because I know that he has been playing Power League and before, and he can bring in some what is it called experience, because they also have some guys who haven't played that much. For example, Botman and Norup, I think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's funny, Ryan, because obviously I was at the LAN that Sierra won last year with Masonic, and literally Frostlev just basically said, "Sorry, boys, you're all going to different projects. I'm gonna have to try and rebuild the team." But everyone that you played with, Sierra, was just gone. So what's Frostlev like as an in-game leader? Because he's still there.
I think he was really new to it back then, or like not really new, but it was his first time ice yelling, and I think he is like first of all a very very great guy. Like I really liked him, but he is also listening a lot to the others. He's playing very like loose style where people take a lot of responsibility. Uh, so he also relies a lot on the individuals, but I also think that he has the knowledge to call like a game and call the team to win. So he is a really a team player and a nice fit for any team, to be honest.
Okay. Now, Rejin, you mentioned that you played a little bit back in the day. Asilian, who was a pro, moved into coaching role, is now back to being a player. Do you reckon you could ever do that?
Not a chance. I'm too old for that. I'm turning 37 this year, man. I don't have the time or willingness to grind as a player. I do, however, love to just sit and fuck around the server, throw nades, and find gimmick things and find stuff no one has ever seen before, and try and break the game in some way or another, adding a new meta smoke somewhere people are copying and stuff like that. Like that is what I'm doing, and I love to do that. Right. I think like if you have that urge to come back and play, you're definitely not ready to be a coach. Like, and that's some feeling. Like I remember when I transitioned, there was my first coaching was in Copenhagen Wolves with Glaive and Snappy in them back in 2016, I would think. And that was my first LAN event. I got paid €400. So happy. And I remember the feeling standing behind them and be like, oh, I could do that better. And I was just instantly thinking that if you have this feeling now, you're not ready to coach. So I quite fast put that feeling away. Because like if you can't hide that, you're never gonna learn to be a coach. At least that's my own assumption. That's so yeah.
Yeah, fair
I
enough.
think he was not done playing, and that's also fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, I remember Ryan, like him being on the Paycheck Stealer team of Galaxy Racer with like Freddy Frog and Relaxer and Grass.
Yeah.
Just like, yeah, they're just fucking about, aren't they? But he actually has played on some good teams in the past. So to actually see him with this lot, I'm just like, yeah, he's just done, isn't he? Just whatever.
Yeah, I mean, like he's not gonna come back to like the top tier team. I don't believe that. Like all, like I like Cillian and stuff like that as a person and everything, but there's no chance.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough. One of the moves that did catch my eye is Prime, who was been on the bench for Sashi for a little while, and then Slime, who was most recently playing on Sprout. They joined this Whopper team. Sirah, do you know anything about them? Because I felt like when I've looked at the rotation of players, they kind of had a lot of like unknown players to me, and then they've just picked up some actual decent names.
Yeah, like I have never played on team with them, but I have like Prime played with like Tricks when they were good, and yeah, okay, actually Tricks has been insane, but like last time they had their peak, Prime was with them, and I know he was a part of that success. I think he's a good player. He's also a grinder to my like from what I have heard. And Slime as well. Slime I don't really know that well, and almost never played with him. So but I think for their team, it's a good move. But I know it's also kind of just like a friend group, like
Okay.
so I don't really know if it's gonna be a success or not. To be fair.
Yeah. Now, Ryan, I know this is tier 2 talk, but surely we've got to talk about the Astralis move and get some perspective here. Bro going out, Cadian going in. Will, do you want to start on this one?
Yeah, I think like it was a shock to everybody. Like also just an hour group chat, it was like what the beep is happening? Like yeah, I think it's interesting move. I think they kind of had to do it. Like it was obviously not looking well, and also when you have like the best player in Denmark probably, or yeah, at least top 3 player in Denmark in Device as the AWP. I think it was a mistake to put him on the in-game leader role because he has so much impact himself. For me, it's more like I don't understand why they didn't take Hooksy then. Like I know it was a possibility for them, but like yeah, like it's gonna be fun to see. I don't know how about the roles as well. Like now, Kadian is gonna play rifle, and he's. They have talked a lot about that they want Yabi and Stown to be comfortable, right, in their roles. So that means that Kadian probably gonna play anchors. Like I don't know, but that's one thing. But also just like all the beef and shit. I don't know if they can actually figure it out. Like to be fair.
What do you think, Rejin? Is this workable?
The more I think about it, I actually think this is the best pickup they could have done. And the reason for that is when you look at Astralis, when have you ever seen them being hyped? Like they looked like they just stepped in dog shit. Like whether they won or lost, like you can't tell the difference. Like it's just like they don't care. They just sit there. Nice. All right. Good there. Nice to meet you. Right? Like it's just like, and then the frustrations that you notice, of course, right? But you never see the opposite. And that's just a downward spiral. You don't want that on a team. You need this guy to lift up the team. You can love him, you can hate him. Cadian is gonna bring that. Like, I think it become too much sometimes with the screaming and everything. But you know what? It's helped with the morale. It helps with the like. It must also be funny, like sitting next to the guy and just see him like taking his head up, screaming like whatever. And that
Yeah,
must also like even if you're having a shit game, you'd be like, oh okay, at least he's an idiot. Like let's go, right? Like I want to know like I honestly think it's really really good, and I think they lacked leadership and they lacked motivation, and those two skill sets Cadian's gonna bring in. Now I'm not gonna say Hooksy couldn't do that as well, but I just like when you think about Cadian, you are thinking about this outspoken, like really loud player, and I think they need that. I really think they need. So I actually think it's one of the best decisions they could have made. If it was Bro who should have been cut or Stare, I don't know. Like 100%, you're not gonna touch Device, Stown, or Yappy. Like those you're not gonna touch because you spend so much money on them. So I think sadly Bro became the guy because I actually think he's been doing quite well for Astralis. Like he was one of the shining lights, I would say, in Astralis camp there. But yeah, like I also know Stare has a huge potential, and I only hear really really good things about him. So it's also understandable they keep him, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but the roles are gonna be a fun thing to see, and I do think it's gonna take a little while to get used to, but at the same time, I'm not so worried. Like KDN has he has so much experience, and yeah.
I mean, the way that I'm looking at this move, if we're looking at it from a tier 2 perspective, Ryan, is where does Bro go? I mean, he was just on Monty, and then obviously Monty's like full Polish now, so there's no way that he can go back there. Does he look for another Danish offer? Does he look for an international offer? Will he even get a tier 1 chance? Will he have to dip back down to tier 2? I don't know. It could be, especially like this is the worst time to get benched as well, right? Like you've got the RMR in what 7-8 weeks time. No one's gonna make changes until after then. So what? You're just gonna be wasting 2-3 months waiting for an opportunity. Could be tough for him, honestly.
Yeah, funny you should say that. I literally rarely ever look at HLTV threads, like the user made ones. And there was one that actually talked about this, and it was like, oh, you know, like feel bad for him. Obviously, like Astralis is the end goal. I think like every Dane has probably looked up to Astralis and whatnot, like as a team, and been like, I want to be on the best team in Denmark, right? And then a lot of these players are just, you know, like a lot of the comments are just saying like, oh, maybe like Ent's opportunity there.
Yeah, well, they're gonna basically just gut that team, aren't they?
But you are right. There's a lot of like, obviously it's HLTV forum and everyone's just fucking professional yapper, right? Like nothing really comes of it. But it is interesting, like to see the lack of actual like good opportunity that could come of this for him, right? I feel quite bad for him because, as you say, you know, you feel like for him at least, it happening this side of the RMR means that he's going to sit on a bench. He's not going to get on a team for the RMR. He's not going to go to a LAN. He's going to have to wait until all of that concludes, and probably have to wait until post-major to actually like sign a bit of paper to say that you're on a new team.
It's player break, isn't it? So you might not actually start playing events and officials till next year.
Yeah,
and I actually don't think you can even. I don't think he can play for another team even, because as far as I understand, the roster log was at 10 of September or 7 of September or something like that for the major. Or the
but can't what, so you mean that like he just can't play for any other team at what, an RMR basis, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no surprise there.
That's what at least how I can read the rules.
Yeah. I think it would be interesting as well then to see what happens for him sort of start of next year. But it's fucking crazy to me. I hate this massive gap. I said it on this previous episode, right? It's like, for me, one of the enjoyments that I got out of watching a major, even, you know, before working in commentary or anything like that, just as a spectator, is to be able to know that, you know, for X amount of weeks you've got the RMR, for X amount of weeks afterwards, you've got RMR qualies, then RMR, then major. Like even Paris, I think Stockholm was the same, right? Like way back when, and
pretty quick.
Like Copenhagen just gone as well, exact same thing, and whatever, right? Like it was all the same, where it's like one after another after another. It's like you could get like CS injected into your veins for a month, you know, like you're gonna be watching non-stop. And I think for the players as well, that's a super shit situation for Bro, because I think you are right, roster lock happened probably not too long ago, and unfortunately for him, Astralis has probably listed him as a sub because he's obviously under contract, and at least, you know, he's not going to go anywhere else. But that means he's just going to sit collecting dust on the Astralis shelf for the rest of this year, and, you know, I don't know when his contract expires at all. Like that, I don't think that was public at all, and you know, maybe
I did see like his agent said that they were allowed to talk with other team stuff with it. So
okay, well, it's a shame though, because I think as much as you can talk, no orgs are going to put pen to paper until 2025, and that means he sits on a bench for the remainder of this year, which is
sure.
Which is
I mean, another thing as well, like I'm casting Compass tomorrow. We're now seeing, I mean, we don't really need Rejin or Sirah to chime in on this one, but Altex, who most recently was playing with TSM, is now playing with Sashi as a stand-in, as a sub, whatever. We could see some shuffling going on, like the Gaming Gladiators guys have just made some changes. If Sashi try and do the same, I mean, that might just be like eyes on, right, for the next few months to see between those kind of teams. Does Bro maybe slot into one of those? Does he look for more tier 1? We'll kind of see. Could you bring up this Na'Vi youth roster, Ryan, with the ages and the elo? Sirah, I don't know if you've pugged against or with any of these guys, but they are insanely young.
Yeah, like I haven't. I can see the names. Like I haven't played any of them. At least I've. Oh yeah, I have seen this AJ guy on Twitter. Like the has a lot of followers. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
But like he's
he's got
also
good
good.
clout.
Like he's good. But like he got a lot of hype. Yeah, I think it's they're very young. Like I felt like in Mouse and XT we had a very young lineup. This is young. Like if yeah, let's put it that way.
At least they've got Snatchy. I mean, we casted him a little bit, Ryan. He's been around for a seriously long time. Like, he played with the VP that was basically on the dying edge. And then he played in basically all of the top-end Tier 2 Polish teams for years after years as an AWPer. So, see what he's like as a coach. I mean, fuck. Imagine coaching, like, 3 14-year-olds and trying to get their, like, eating schedule in place and maybe, like, responsibility. I mean, that would just be fucking unbelievable. I can't imagine what that must be like.
And I think you also have to look at it from a different perspective, right? It's like when you
Okay.
have football clubs and stuff like that, when they start in really youth, like in the youth clubs, stuff like that, right? So it's not gonna be professional, like, you know, like as it is, as we're playing in TSM, right? Or probably even in Mouse NXT, right? Like it's gonna be even way lower than that, right? You're starting from even lower, which I actually like, and I think is the proper way of doing an academy team, right? When you're around 17, 18 years old, you should already be good enough to be in a tier 1 team. If you're not, there is very little chances that you're ever gonna be, right? So you actually kind of be like from the lower is even better, right? To has this or at least have these academy teams, right?
Yeah.
Like because you see like players like Monesia Dunk, right? Like how old are they? Like 17, you know? And they got picked up very young, and they were just like having this X factor, right? So if you're picking up academy players who is 23 years old or 21, like, are they really academy? You know what I mean? Like, is it? Are they really gonna go anywhere?
I
I
think
also believe that's why like Mouse and XT is so good is because like Tobis is probably the best in the world at scouting and teaching young players how basic C is working. Like I'm brave enough to say that because like there's just like it's not a discussion anymore. Like every Mouse and XT team has been kind of successful. Like I think the last three, like my team and the team with Slend and QQ and Nexus and the team with the like Search and all the guys who got promoted, right? They have all been at least top 50 and they have all been like kind of dominant in tier 2 or like they have been in finals and stuff. So I think you have to go young to find them, and yeah, that's that was a little love for Mouse, but they deserve it as well.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
Ryan, I'm struggling to hold 2.1, 2.2k elo, and I'm fucking these like 14-year-old kids at like
Yeah.
3k. Like,
Yeah, I
got
was
no
gonna
chance,
say
mate.
I'm seeing my graph go down, down, down on that Faceit page, and these guys
I
are
mean,
like,
I'm level 9 now, and I just said fuck it all. Like I don't even like. I'm so shit. Like I can't even be asked anymore. Like it's just numbers for me now.
yeah, I don't know.
You laugh way too much there, Will. I can tell that much. I'm gonna beat you again in GeoGuessr though.
I honestly, it's so unbelievable to me, Josh, and it's so right. Like you look now at the trend, I guess, of like these big teams, and you know, like I think every team has this mold where is at least like one young player on the team that is like the wow factor that they're gonna use as a really hard-hitting individual that can learn a lot and adapt, and is still very open-minded about the game, and you know has a lot to learn. And when this team is literally like average, like 15 years old, like the average player is 15, like they're all 3,000 elo. I will say one thing is that I think that them they're gonna have to do very well quite quickly in terms of being able to even secure invites to tier 3 and stuff, because I think with
how would even a team
Yeah,
like that get on? I don't know.
with how the academy leagues don't exist anymore, right? Obviously, like WePlay doesn't do any of the academy stuff. There's no like academy-based teams or tournaments, I should say, and there are very little teams right now in terms of academy. Sure, there's a few, but unless if you're like a big name pre-existing, I know they're like in the Na'Vi banner, but it's like, well, you're gonna have to start by playing these like massive open quals, tier 3 events. You know, you're gonna have to really, really grind, and I don't
But
know.
that's also okay when you're 15.
Of course. And they'll
But
have
just
their
I think just the
chance.
idea of how they can actually get into a pro
Yeah.
tournament.
It's like
Oh, yeah, but I mean, like, that's if you think like from the perspective of an organization, like the idea with an academy team is not them going to a pro tournament, right? It's find the new Monesi, find the new Dunk, right? That's the idea, and then pull him up on the main team or sell him, right? It's not about them going to all these tournament stuff.
Yeah, that's
Like,
true.
they
But
have-
you want to play officials at an adequate
Of course.
level, right?
Yeah, but you're also you're gonna do that no matter what, right? Like the way the ecosystem works, like if you're good enough, you are gonna get through these open qualifiers to CCT, whatever there is, right? You
Yeah,
are
but I
gonna
think-
be there at some point.
I think the thing that we're sort of discussing here, Rejin, is how many open qualifiers are there actually going to be? I mean, that's the whole question mark with this sort of change of circuit. I don't know.
But isn't there gonna be open qualifier? There must be open qualifiers for these teams, or at least like I don't know, like I don't know exactly
Yeah.
how it's gonna be, right? Like,
Mm.
but not having open qualifier things hurt the tournament organizer more than it like it's not good. Like if you can't qualify, basically that's not good, right? And you
Oh,
see
for
also
sure. Yeah.
with the ESL events and everything, there's gonna be open qualifiers for everything, right? Because like they have, how was the rule? Like it was like if you have more than, was it more than $1 million in prize money a year, you have to keep open tournaments, something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. To be honest, like we just need to kind of wait and see what happens, especially
yeah,
in the
of
tier
course,
2 and
yeah.
3 landscape, with like the more online tournaments. But yeah, I mean, we'll see how those guys go. I mean, another academy team is Gamer Legion Academy that's got some UK players, Ryan. The Leaf and LVN just got kicked for Adam9130, who used to in-game lead ITB, and then Tensky. Now. Mate, Tensky's got to be close to a paycheck stealer. Like, if I'm saying Rejin's a paycheck stealer, then Tensky's got to be in that conversation as well. How has he landed that gig? I don't know, man. Yeah.
I only know, like, I actually know Jesper, and he's like a really good guy and everything. He's really smart when it comes to CS. I think he's never really had these big opportunities, I would say, like to go as a coach, because I think he's a coach, right? And
Yeah, he's a coach. Yeah.
And he's been a coach before also in other academies, right? But that's again, like, you don't really see these coaches from like sirah just mentioned with Tobis, right? Who is mentioning him like when it comes to like the bigger scenes, right? No one is mentioning him, even though he might be one of the best in finding academy players, even though he might be one of the best coaches actually learning these young players, right? And he deserves a massive credit. I think Cyclone as well, he deserves a massive credit, right? And I think, well, now he probably gets more because Mouse is also up there winning some tournaments that are right. But if you're not winning tournaments, you're getting fuck all, right? Like, you're getting no love, right? And people in the community, they know shit. Like, they have absolutely no idea what's going on a team. Even players who say they're watching the games, they don't even know what they're watching actually, and they're just talking out their ass, right? Like, I saw a lot of comments with us replacing Altix with sirah, right? And I'm just like, what type of games are you watching, right? Like, it's just like, it makes no sense, right? Like, it's just trolls, in my opinion. Like, people can't be that stupid, or apparently they can. I don't know. Yeah. So I think like it's a bit unfair to some degree, because how much publicity does Tensky get when he is academy coach for some team where he probably barely get paid anything, etc., right? So I think it's super difficult to say much more about that, and honestly.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice to see Adam back in the server because I feel like he hasn't played at a decent level for a really long time now, Ryan.
Yeah, I don't know. I think this whole team is interesting. I do find it funny actually that Adam9130, his like whole career kickstarted playing on Gamer Legion. He toured the UKCS, right? Like went to Into the Bin, ITB, all of that. And then he's landed himself back in Gamer Legion under the Academy banner.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
Might be a little bit humbling, but I don't know. I think they've got some interesting individuals there. Like, obviously, you've got Tree as well, another UK guy that's been on there for a little while. Tensky as a coach, I think, you know, with open-mindedness, it's like, as we've all kind of agreed, like, nobody's heard about him or, you know, haven't seen him do anything in a while. But that's not to discredit him as a coach. And, you know, they've got an advanced spot. They're going to be playing in a lot of, like, close quals for CCTs and stuff like that. My guess is that, you know, Gamer
Yeah.
Legion as an organization are going to have very good working relationships with TOs where they can try and push their academy into things, you know. So it'll be an interesting few months. I think the results will tell us the most about
Yeah,
this team, but it's something that I'm going to hold my breath on before, you know, shots fired and whatnot.
Fair enough. I mean, the other one is FlyQuest finally picking up someone a bit European. I know it's in a coaching department, but they bring up JTR, who basically was the head coach of the whole Nigma Galaxy team that was basically the #1 female team for a good portion of 18 months, 24 months. And I think FlyQuest as a whole, they need something. Because I actually think going into next year, Ryan, Talon is going to start actually, like, dominating in a sense for that #1 spot. I think there's going to be a good battle between Azza's team and now sort of Inza's team on who's going to make those international qualifications. So they need to start getting some results because they look really rough at tier 1 and have done for quite some time, even with Dexter coming back to the boys.
I also think like they need to pick up, like you said, probably 2 Europeans, right? Because like, no hate against the Aussies or New Zealand, whatever, the Kangaroo boys down there, but it is just like you need some extra firepower, right? And Europe provides that, so why not use that? Like I think it's kind of silly not doing that, right? And if you want to practice properly, you have to stay in Europe anyway. So yeah,
Which both of them they won't do. I'll tell you that much right now, Rejin.
I don't know anything about that, but
Yeah.
if they have high aspirations, they kind of need to do that, right?
Yeah, no, that's not.
But I do think that Talon has been bootcamping a lot in Europe.
Mate, they're playing CCTs and all sorts. Yeah, they're trying to maintain as much time in Europe as possible.
Yeah, I think like ACR and
So
the other lads,
MHL.
they're living in Malta, and I think MHL is living at home in Poland.
Oh, okay.
As far as I know.
Yeah. I remember when they were, what was it, looking for org, Ryan, when they were out in Europe. They were like in Sheffield. They had some like random apartment or house. I don't know if it had anything to do with Endpoint, but I just remember them just boot camping there for a little bit. So I know that those boys in the past have done those sort of European boot camps. Has been quite open, I think, to not like relocating, but staying in Europe for quite some time. So yeah, I think we'll see that that change. One of the ones we've been talking about the last few shows is this whole bleed one of Vladden coming back and Hampus going out to Johnny Speeds. Rejin, from a coaching perspective, what do you think of that one?
I'm not here.
All right, Will, you can take
no,
it then.
I don't know. Yeah, Will can take it first, and I'm gonna think.
Just my opinion of bleed, or like
Just yeah, like Nexa now calling when they got rid of Vladden to put Nexa in the anchor roles. Just like the whole last few changes they've made, and if you think the team can actually do decent work.
I think it's the correct thing to make Nexa calling, to be honest. I think like only when keeping in mind that Hampus is away, I think Hampus is a better caller, but I think like Nexa hasn't been performing like on G2 and Bleed here in the start. I think so. I think putting him at the calling is the right move, and also I think Vladden is a very stable player. I think he's pretty good. He was also with them in the start, but then they had got the opportunity to take Norg and Jacob, if I'm not mistaken, and therefore he got kicked. So it was not even because like he was bad. I think it was just because they felt like they had better opportunities. So I think it's like it's a good move for them, but yeah, to be honest, I feel like they have had so many different rosters. Like I can't even remember who they started. They started with Law and Lex, and like they have been through so
Cirque.
many.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cirque, yeah, like there's so many rosters. Like for me, it feels like they are not willing to grind. They are willing to. They want to see results now, but that's not how reality is sometimes.
I mean, I need to hear Retro first because you were shaking your head.
Man, I've said this on so many episodes before, and I honestly, I've got to have some respect to Cassard because I think with the what he's done in terms of being able to build a team like this, I don't think I hate any of his changes before the Nexa one in terms of like switching out the players, right? Because as Sirah was saying, you know, if you're gonna have a duo between Cirque and Vladen or Jacob and Nork, I think it makes sense to go for the Apex duo. I think for me, you know, when Cirque wasn't performing, get rid of him. That's fine. Like maybe as a future, whatever. Lau and X getting removed for Vladen. Before that, I think with how Vladen played, that was I don't even want to say a gamble because I think Vladen pre-bleed, like iNation days, we were talking about as well, and so it makes sense to me. And then we bring in Nexa to this team, who was a renowned paycheck stealer on G2 for way too long of a time, right? Like, I mean, he was there from November 2023 to July 2024, and they won Dallas. That's the only thing they won, right, in that whole time. And then he goes and takes a step to bleed, and I don't mind if he's going to be calling and if he actually performs. And then he goes over to bleed. He's playing mediocre at best, and I say mediocre, you've got to consider that he's not even the one that was calling the shots, right? Like at the time, he was the one that was just meant to be focused on his crosshair and taking orders. Maybe he's a second caller and he's there to sort of like be a background voice within the team and being like, no, actually, like this is the situation, and maybe he's there for experience. But if you wanted experience, then you've got Jacob and Nork, and you know, Cypher's a very solid entry. I think his toes have been stepped on a little bit in previous iterations of this team. I think bringing Vladen back is cool. I just don't see how the fuck Nexa is still on this team, and I hate that they keep making changes. And like, you look at the team, Cypher is the longest standing player on 8 months. Vladen has technically been on the team for 6 months, but in terms of, you know, this current iteration has been on the team for 5 days so far. Jacob and Nork joined 4 months ago, and Nexus joined 2 months ago. Like, how do you see sustainability in qualifying to an RMR, to play at the top of Tier 2, to even try and push into Tier 1 events, when you're making a change every 2 months? Like, it's so baffling to me that they're surprised when they're not seeing this RMR qualification. You wouldn't fucking change the team like 2 months before the RMR. Like, what else do you expect, man? Like, sure, you can say, oh, we should have qualified. You know, we threw against Gamer Legion. Well, yeah, but, you know, had you spent 2 extra months with the same team or hadn't have picked up fucking paycheck stealing Nexa, we'd have been in a position where maybe you wouldn't have had to have worried about playing Gamer Legion. You would have fucking stomped the close qual. Anyway.
I actually thought you were talking about TSM for a moment there of making changes.
Did I find my fan here to cool you down?
Yeah. Here, I've got mine here. Don't worry. I don't know. I can't bring it into frame, but it is there. It is there. I promise. Oh man, I honestly, I could burst a vein talking about this bleed side. I really could.
Yeah, I mean, like from my side, like like this is the clear difference between me and Cassette. He starts out buying Cypher from us. Now I know the amount. I'm not gonna say it, of course, but it's more than a hamburger. Then you get Farvin from Big.
Oh yeah, Farvin as well.
Oh,
You
fuck,
buy out Hampus from NIP. You borrow Longs from Falcons, and you bring in Zerg. Now, Longs I like. Zerg I think is a good job also because, you know, free agent. Let's see if he can do it. Like, I don't mind that at all. I think that's totally reasonable. Then you get like you're buying out Hampus, you're borrowing Longs. It's just a big mismatch of roles. You're like, it looked to me from the outside that Kassad was surprised how Cypher was playing. Like that he was surprised that he's a full W player and that's how he plays best. Because suddenly you don't see Cypher play his normal roles, or like he's playing more passive. He's started to play shit. I don't know. I might be putting this too much into it. I don't know. Then you bench Zerg, you get in Nok. I love that. Like, there's nothing about that. You get Jacob as well, and I think that was smart, not just going out to buy them for a lot of money and you wait and you buy them, right? Sure, I can get behind that. Now you have Nok, Jacob, Cypher, Hampus, and who's the last one?
Well, they got rid of Vladen and kept Farfan at the time.
That's right.
And then they try to put Farfan in the hard anchor roles when he's not a hard anchor.
Yeah, but then that's again like with the roles and stuff like that. It's just like you take 5 names, boom, play. No, it doesn't work. Let's swap you out instead of look at exactly what is you need on the team, right? Now, he should know what he's doing, right? So I'm not gonna discredit anything, right? But it looks like a big fucking clusterfuck, and going out and spending too much money for something you don't get too much value about. And that's which I didn't want to do on TSM. We had the opportunities to go out and spend big, buy the names we wanted, etc. I was in talk with Jakim as well. We also waited. I was like, you need to make sure when you're spending money, in my opinion. You cannot just go around and spend 100k here, 200k there, 300k, whatever, right? Like, then it's on you in the end if it doesn't work out. So I'd rather want to be smart about it and make the right decisions, right? We got Aiko for free. We just waited his contract out, got him for free. We had Altix for free. Siphon, we bought from Sprout from not so much money. Valde was already here. Nico was free agent. Sirah we had to buy from Mouse, right? But I mean, like, start slowly, and then you can see what you're missing, and then you spend the money. In my opinion, right? Like, I think it's a wrong approach to go for it. Unless, of course, you have $1 billion and you don't know what to do with it. Sure, throw out the money, right? Like, and if it doesn't really matter, sure, that doesn't matter, right? But yeah, I just think from my perspective, it's the wrong approach, and then you can talk about bringing in Nexa and stuff like that, then benching Wilden, bringing him back. Now Hampus is gone. Like, I don't know. It's a big fucking... And then Cypher is playing one day, he's not playing the next day. Then he's like benched or not benched, and then it's like you don't even know what the fuck is going on. And I even think, like, I saw the other day, like, you went to Bleed's homepage, it was like Sturk and stuff standing there as the players, right? So it's just like, yeah.
Han even played the other day. I casted a game where Han was playing. I was like, what the fuck was he doing here? What? So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like it's I have nothing against Kasada. I have nothing against the project and everything. I would just have done a different route. Let me put it like that.
Okay. I mean, it could very much well be, Ryan, that we just keep eyes and tabs to see what the next few changes are. I mean, what does it even say about Hampus if he's happy to just leave this squad to go and play with Johnny Speeds? Like, let's be realistic. Do Johnny Speeds overtake Bleed in accomplishments? No way. Like, you can't expect that. Not with fucking Nork and Jacob on your team. Like, surely Bleed goes further than what Johnny Speeds does, and he just leaves to go and join with the Speeds. Like,
and Johnny Speeds are unorged. They're not even. He literally forfeited sitting on a bench and taking a salary. I mean, obviously, as a player, and I mean, anyone in a position, I feel like in a Counter-Strike ecosystem will be happy to leave a team to continue playing because it's your goal to continue playing, right?
Well,
but when you leave free of charge from Bleed and you go to Johnny Speeds, go on.
Is it free of charge? Because he's on loan. Someone's got to pay that. Like, if he's on loan from Bleed to Johnny Speeds, where's that money coming from? Is there maybe an organization? Like, I don't know. You can put two and two together, but they would have had to have paid something to Bleed.
No, you are right, but I mean, at the end of the day, maybe that comes to light and Johnny Speeds have an org. But if there's no announcement,
Max,
yeah. But if there's no announcement, I think I don't know, man. I think this has been like this. Honestly, with how Bleed look right now, this is giving me like OG V2. You know, where it's like some dude is sat at the top of the tree of this like organization, and he's got so deep pockets, he's just spending money willy-nilly. He's just fucking throwing out dollar bills to everyone, and it's just not working. And they're not actually taking time to think out a proper team. And I think Rejin says it perfectly. It's like you look at some of the previous iterations, and it's like Cypher is one of the most aggressive entries that we've seen in a little while in terms of, you know, like, I feel like if he spoke Albanian, you could put him in the BNE team and he'd be just fine, you know? Like, he's that aggressive and that, like, just that unhinged in that sense. And then you bring on, you know, Jacob and Nork, who aren't particularly the most, like, known people to be in these, like, aggressive fucking, like, 50-50 coin flip engagement teams. You've then got Farven, who used to play on Big, literally the most, like, insanely tactical European team that there is. And it's like, you've got so many, like, different backgrounds and histories. And when it doesn't meet and it doesn't work, like, sure, you can think of a change. But in my opinion, like, if I had a moment to sit down and I was paid by Bleed to go out and, okay, we need a new fifth because we're benching Farven. Like, I feel like if you gave me a day, I could give you 10, 15 names that I personally would pick for your team before Nexa. And it feels like at this point, we're just picking up players for the names and for like experience. But I don't think experience is what you need at this point. You need results because you've been fucking woeful when it comes to breaching tier 1, and something's got to change. But I don't know,
well,
man.
Cheers, Ryan, for blacklisting us to get bleed players on. But yeah.
No, well, that's fine.
If bring them on,
if they're not going to turn up to an interview because I've said some mean words, then man, I don't know. You need to open your Twitter DMs at some point, gents, because I'm telling you, there's going to be a lot worse there. I think that's
like,
it.
It is hard, right? Like the thing is also what we don't know is what's actually going on in the team, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
You don't know. Maybe Favin was a huge douchebag to everyone. Maybe Longs was just like criticizing everyone. Like, you don't know all these things, right? So there can just be also these things, because we would like no team would ever go out and say something bad about another player unless like something like really something happened and everyone knows it, right? Then you can be like, yeah, that happened, whatever, right? But there is always this unknown factor that you have to kind of understand as well as an outsider, right? So yeah.
I will say I would agree with you if there weren't so many changes with Bleed. Like, I feel like if there's one person having a problem, like in the team, or like the atmosphere isn't right, then you make a change, that's fine. Because, as you say, that happens. Like, you were talking about it earlier with TSM, and we see a lot of teams do it. But in my opinion, when you've been together for a year and you've had, I think, 9 different people in your starting roster in 9 months, for me at least, that's like, I don't know if I can simply say that's just down to like something's going wrong in the background and whatever. Like, you see these cryptic tweets from Kassad, it's like, I should have done better, whatever. It's like, well, I don't know. I think it's a very confusing situation. And I wish all the best, because I'd love to see this team succeed. Like, I think they have the capability of doing so, but...
So I actually had 13 players in TSM since I joined.
Well, there you go then. So would you say, okay, then that's a perfect question to you. Is like, does that just come down to a team issue though, or is that is it feasible to have 9 team issues in 9 months where you have to have a change or anything like that? Like, to you, is that an acceptable rate to like have changes? And I think for you as well, right? Like when you had those changes, like, didn't some of these players get bought out or whatever? Or was it literally you just benched all 13?
Cypher got bought out. Team from, I think, Inters got bought out after we benched him, but when we decided to go the other way, right? Yeah, but I mean, like, I think it's hard also because I come in on a team that is completely dysfunctional from start, right? And you have to kind of make this hard reboot no matter what, right?
Yeah.
And building a core just takes time. Like, when we got, like, Cypher was the only one I knew that we were gonna keep with Valde. And building a core, like I say, it just takes time to build that core. I mean, you need like a foundation of 3 players. And it just takes time to figure out those 3 players, and then you add the 4th, you add the 5th. Maybe you get 5 guys, all actually working. Now we cut 1 to make it like whatever, right? But it is taking time, a lot of time to create a core, I would say.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
But I'm casting Bleed tomorrow, Ryan, so, I'll keep all of those thoughts
I'm
in the back
gonna be tuning
of my
in.
mind.
I'm gonna be fucking keyboard warrior in the chat. I told you so, Dweg. No,
I got banned in the fucking UKIC chat because I typed like classic 332. Like, obviously I'm trolling, but their LAN final they just had, I got timed out instantly, and I was like, yeah, okay, fair enough. Maybe.
I mean, they did actually just qualify for the Fast Cup. They beat Sashi.
Yeah. They're in the playoffs there. So yeah, I'm casting. So get this right. Bleed and Sashi have played each other twice today, and they're playing each other again fucking tomorrow. So that's a game I'm covering. Yeah. Bleed versus Sashi in
like
Compass. Yeah.
Great.
At 9 a.m. Lovely.
Nice. Enjoy the wake up, Josh.
Yeah, will do.
My favourite part of the show, we leave the best till last, in my opinion, Josh. It is the Tier 2 Dream Team. For those maybe that don't know how this one works, we're going to ask Sirah and Rejin to make their dream team. They can only use players in the Tier 2 scene. You can pick up to 1 teammate. You can pick yourself if you want to. And they've got to be a Tier 2 player, so no picking the Tier 1 players. We'll go back and forth, so Sirah will start, then Rejin will pick, and you can't pick what the other person has picked, So if Sirah picks himself, Rejin can't pick Sirah, and, vice versa about
But I
any
can
player.
pick myself?
Yeah, if you
If
want.
you want.
37-year-old talent. Let's
Yeah.
go.
Level 9 apparently.
See, Retro, that's a good thing. Only ways up now.
Yeah.
Only ways up.
Man, I'm level 9 as well. I'll take it on the chin. I've been playing woefully.
We need to
so-
go grind, Retro.
We
after
do,
this.
we
Let's
do,
go.
man. Actually, I'll happily hit the queue. I need the level 10 back, man. I need it. I need it.
Just go get a Sirah and a few of the other TSM boys to carry, yeah.
Hello, guys. Yeah. Sirah, you can start us off, mate. Who do you want in your tier 2 dream team?
I think I'm gonna go like with not the obvious choice. I think, but at first I'm gonna fuck Alan off and I'm gonna say I'll put Siphon on my
No!
team.
Took
Team
my
is just
boy!
over already. Yeah.
There you go. Zyphon
Uh,
starts.
I am gonna take PR.
Yeah. Do you know, I kid you not, Will, I've actually said this countless times on broadcasts over the last few months. I've said Sirah and PR are tier 1 level ready now. I say Naitu needs more time and Burmy still needs more time. But yeah, you can put me on the record because I've said that many times.
Yeah, I think I think Nitro is also tier 1 ready, to be honest. Like,
Ooh, okay.
I think like also like for my team, I would just have picked like what is it called, like Nitro and Pia and Bumelo, but I'm not gonna stick them because I know
Just-
they are.
Yeah, no one from TSM, everyone from Mauser NXT.
Yeah.
I
know,
can see I
like,
went completely wrong here.
But they for sure they are ready. Like I'm not in doubt. I think oh, I don't know who I should go for. Like okay, it's gonna be really boring, but I'm gonna say I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna say Nicolas then. It's over.
I was
don't
gonna
know
say
even if
Orpa or Rifler.
Yeah, I don't even know. Maybe I'll pick an over. I don't know.
Okay, so
Need a
this looks
drink?
kind of Danish at the moment. Looks like Rejin's going international. He's going to start a new TSM project.
Let's go, Academy.
Yeah.
I will have to take NPL.
Yeah. Are you
Yeah.
going to get him to IGL?
No,
Okay, just pure rifle power.
I need a spot for myself. And I'm gonna take the op as well. Fuck you guys.
Okay, I'll not take something Danish now. I need
Oh,
to
okay.
think.
You can take red.
I need to-
Okay.
I'm just trying to think. Like you play so many. Like I'm thinking who has fucked me up the most. But like when you play, I don't know, 100 opponents every day, like. Okay, I'm gonna say. Okay, I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna say Shine as IGL. The
Shine, the old
yeah, this-
eyeballers, IGL.
yeah. I think he's really good.
There he is.
Now I need an IGL also. But also, like, I could also get. What if I take like a superstar IGL in Nexa? I'm just fucking with you.
Oh, nearly got you there.
No, I'm
Thanks
gonna
for
take
watching,
Nilo.
guys. Yeah.
Nilo.
All right. Yeah.
Oh, good
My boy.
pick.
That
good
is
pick.
a very solid pick.
Why are you laughing so much?
Ah,
here?
but you're probably the funniest person on earth. Oh man. Oh, who should I take? I feel like I miss an anchor. Like I have Siphon, Neodas, and Shine. I feel like I miss an anchor and like yeah, anchor and maybe second star. Bob, I think. Okay, I don't know if this is like tier 2, but is what is he called? Forester. Is he
Forrester
that?
from
Yeah.
Amcal? Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, that's all right. I mean, it is an Amcal player though, so you'll probably be
Oh,
fucking bored
yeah,
out of your mind watching them play.
it's only one of them who's the completely delusional, but we can take that another day.
He's actually a good rifler. I've always rated Forrester. Even when he was playing on the Entropic with Crad. He's a good player then.
Yeah.
Well, I don't care about roles. I just want good players. I don't know if you heard about that new guy, Donk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Let's take. I reckon that Magnoyes. He's still as
yeah.
Managers. The well, XK23 and what, like Spirit Academy? Now on BetBoom?
yeah, Spirit Academy. How do you
One
like
more.
them apples?
Okay, then there's one guy you cannot get past of these days, and I think he's I don't know how to pronounce his name. But when you said Dunk, I instantly thought of this guy, and I'm gonna say Kuryosuke, you know, the Spirit Academy new
Oh
guy.
yeah.
Bro, like fucking unreal what he's doing right now. Like
Who, sorry?
Kiyosuke, I don't know. Type it.
KYOU.
Ah.
I've just seen the ratings. I don't think I've actually
Like,
ever watched a game from him.
But this his aim is unreal. He can play any position.
Oh, look at him go.
Jesus,
He is-
okay. A diamond in the rough.
A 1.50 rating impact. Let's go.
He's a Joel, but not a Joel. Bring him on.
No, my last player. I mean, okay, so my team NPL could in-game leap here, and we don't need an AWPer, so that's fine. Just
Don't need an
WT.
AWPer.
Do I really need an AWPer? I don't.
Yeah, just get some heavy firepower in there.
Well, then I have to take my new boy here, Sirah. That's my.
Let's fucking go.
There we
As
go.
over, right?
And then I would add myself as a sub if we really need an AWPer one game.
I can't even add you. There's no
Dude,
add
add me.
context for
I'm
the.
too old. I'm
You
expired.
gone, just gone. Yeah.
There we go. Our tier 2 dream teams.
Yeah.
Josh?
I mean,
I would have liked
Jo-
Cypher, but I
Yeah,
mean,
go on.
Sirah. No, I'm just thinking. Like,
just thinking. Well, I think what's Shine gonna do with these good players? He's only played with shit players in the past, so he's gonna have no idea how to call this team.
Oh
So-
shit, please. That's rough to say
What
that.
Shine on Eyeballers?
Oh yeah, they were fine at one point. I remember like
They were fine.
Hold on, let's fact check here.
I
Yeah.
don't know about being fine.
fact check.
Like,
I think Eyeballers have kind of always been pretty shit. Let's have a look at the rankings.
Oh, there we go. Oh, this is not what I wanted. We're just
Yeah, the
search
rankings just there on the bottom,
eyeballers.
right? Oh, is that not? Yeah.
Yeah, and just have a look. It
Yeah.
peaked 68. Oh wait, for team 37.
Oh yeah, nice. Top
it's like
40.
I mean,
Shine, Pepsor, Sapek, JW, Flusher.
Yeah, they won like a CCT like a year ago, and that was about it, didn't
oh,
they?
yeah, but like, Dreg, you're making it sound like they, I don't know, were top 100. I don't know, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think,
No, Rejin's team slaps hard. Nilo in there, PR in there, managers,
I mean,
MPL
you
just calling.
like literally as an Incan, you just say, guys, you go kill, and then someone is gonna get an opening, and it's gonna be fine.
Yeah. And then give it like a month, qualified to the RMR, and Rejin says, "Do you know what? Get out of there, Sirah. I'm coming in." I'll just...
I'll take it from here.
Yeah. You got us so far. Now it's time to step aside.
I mean, my last match was. That's actually I played for the endpoint one. We're not gonna talk about that.
Well, they nearly had Alan play at one of the RMRs. Do you remember that, Ryan? When
Yeah.
they got
That's before
Mirbit
us,
at the last minute. This was like 2021. I think it was the Antwerp RMR, maybe. I can't remember which one. I think it was Antwerp. But yeah, they were meant to play with Alan at the last minute, and then Mirbit ended up being the savior.
If you look at the Discord, I think I actually have the worst rating on HLTV history.
I don't know. I'll bring.
Let's bring that up.
Oh,
Yeah, we
okay.
need
No,
evidence.
no,
for
that's
this.
no reason for
Yeah.
that. That's no reason for that at all.
I think
Like,
there's a match page. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it exists anymore. It's expired.
I'll tell you what, Rejin, if you want something that'll make you feel better, I guess there's a bit of trivia for everyone at home, and that will be Insomnia. What was it? Insomnia 70?
70, I think, or 71.
Let me have a look.
Because
It
we
might-
played at
we played
69, didn't we?
right?
And then 70. Yeah, it might have been 70.
Was it even on HLTV? Oh, do you know what it was? It was ESL
It was on
Prem.
the Prem. Yeah. So just a bit of backstory here. Insomnia, I don't know if you ever went to one, Rejin, but they had like a partnership with ESL Prem that used to do like the ESL Meisterschaft like qualifications into Pro League. And well, Ryan, you could break it down because you were there.
So basically, the way it worked is we had, when ESL Prem was running, we partnered with like the biggest UK event in Insomnia at the time. And so what happened was is if you played in ESL Prem and you came top 4, you got an invite. If you didn't get top 4, or you were just a random team, you could go to Insomnia, sign up, pay the entrance fee, and then the top 4 teams will join into ESL Prem, and the top
in
8
like the BYOC LAN
play
qual bit.
in ESL Prem. And there was a team here, Royal Signals, which is an army team, like genuinely like from the British Army, that went and played. And oh no, it was the Endpoint game, wasn't it? It was this one,
Yeah, they played
overpowered,
Endpoint.
and
Yeah.
it was 16-0, 16-0. Right this is on stage, like hundreds of people
I remember that.
went and watched, and I think it was here. There you go. This guy, he went 1-16, 0-0-7. He actually went 2-32 in the entire series. So
Big up to that fella.
yeah, respect. And there were some
Yeah. I mean,
interesting
that-
names that came out of this as
Yeah.
well, by the way. Fuck me. Let me.
I actually remember that one. That was some weird ass how it went. Like,
So literally, me and Retro, like, we could have played at the LAN qual, and if we did, we 100% would have got HLTV.
HLTV,
Like that
we
that
would've.
would have been the game. But yeah, they would have just.
do you remember
robbed
your
our money.
first HLTV game, Will?
Yeah, it was in Prosebia. It was like the CCT close qualifiers, like
Were you
the
nervous?
classic. I've never been like really the guy who's getting that nervous. Like I was not. I don't remember me as nervous, to be honest.
Alright, I like it.
Yeah, Ryan played on HLTV and didn't even
And
get
didn't
a
get a
match
profile.
page. Yeah,
Fucking
yeah,
bastards.
Yeah.
Absolute bastards. Yeah. What a day that was. I think that's it, Josh. Anything else to add?
No, not really. Watch out to see if TSM qualify to the major.
Yes, we will be keeping a keen eye. Good luck to the both of you
Let's
for that.
have a meetup 17 December.
Yeah,
Sirah
yeah.
can come on board again, show his sticker.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, we'll crack
I
some
mean-
beers. We'll do the celebrations.
Yeah.
I feel like Ellen is putting a lot of pressure right now. Like
No,
I think.
It's
Yeah.
just amazing, bro.
we wish you both all the best in the RMR, of course, starting in November time, so make sure to go and check it out. Thank you guys for joining us. It's been a pleasure as always. That's us done for today. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.